All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate everyone joining today. My name is Seth Fike. I'm an account executive here at Scanco. I can see quite a lot of familiar names, so you probably have talked to me in some capacity, but I've been at Scanco about 5 years now, specifically in the warehouse distribution and multi-bin side. Today, we are going to focus on the keys to warehouse and shipping efficiencies for medical and pharmaceutical industry or companies. So we're starting a series every month, and we want to be more specific to different verticals. So if you're on this particular webinar, it's probably because you're tracking some kind of extra level of information for your parts, and that's what we want to really focus on today. All right. There we go. So just some groundkeeping rules today. What we're going to go over, we're going to talk about UDIs. We're going to go over the importance of lot and expiration date and how we can track it. We're going to really focus on how Scanco can help optimize your inventory integrity, talk about the implementation and growth, and then actually do a demo. So majority of today is going to be the demo. I think that's what everyone's excited to see. So I want to make sure that we spend a good 15 to 20 minutes on it, and then we'll answer some questions. If you're not familiar with me or not familiar with Scanco, Scanco is a barcode automation company. We've been in Sage for 30 plus years, since 1989. You can see it up there. We really just started in barcode automation, so receiving, picking, shipping, and we've been able to grow to really handle complex verticals as well as complex situations and kind of mold our software to be able to be more of the industry standard. Throughout that time, we've also introduced different pieces like our manufacturing solutions. So maybe you're familiar with production management or operations management. These are actually software pieces that Scanco developed for Sage. So you probably, if you're using those, have heard of us in some capacity. So we've been doing this a long time. We've worked with a number of resellers to really expand and help optimize different warehouses. So this is just a little of the same. You'll notice here, 26 plus years in warehouse. That's really where we started, manufacturing, and then we also have a mobile sales or outside sales application that if you're ever interested, you can come talk to me about. So why are we having this webinar? Outside of just doing this monthly, we continue to hear that medical and pharmaceutical companies, and maybe food companies if you're in there, continue to really grow at a rapid pace even right now. But there's a lot of requirements that are really coming down, and it's very difficult to keep in compliance and to be able to track product to the level that is required by the FDA through old processes. And so when I say old processes, paper, pencil, hopefully not Excel, or hopefully Excel if it's paper and pencil. But also that most manufacturers, as well as I'll loop in distributors here, are following these standards without automation, and they're just kind of being okay with getting fined. They're okay with the audit that comes and they're late on it because they can't find a particular product. They're okay with these highly costly errors that are occurring, and that's really why we're having this, because we hear this all the time. $20,000 fine here, $100,000 fine there, and it's just a sunk cost at that point. And then lastly, what we're hearing is tracking inventory with high standards is difficult. This is something that a lot of companies are scared of because they don't know, what they don't know. So I'm here to tell you it's not as difficult as you think it is. We're here to help. We've had a lot of experience. We have a lot of medical and pharmaceutical companies that utilize our products. So definitely reach out if that is one of the cases. So why UDIs, and really what is a UDI? Before we even start this, I just kind of want everyone to understand the different types of barcoding that is available to you. So a UDI is essentially a unique device identification or identifier. And some of the ones that you may be familiar with is a GS1 barcode, a HIBBC. So a GS1 is more standardized throughout the industry, throughout all industries, where HIBBC is specific to healthcare. So if you're in the healthcare field, maybe you know this particular requirement. Or ICCBBA, this is typically product of human origin. So blood, we have a couple of companies that utilize them, things of that nature. These are standardized barcodes that really are traceable back to the first time that product is in production. So the finished good, the raw material, or excuse me, the raw material all the way from the first start of manufacturing a specific product. Now, there's a lot more that we've come across, but these are the most frequent based on this particular industry. And the nice part here is we've seen it, we've done it, and we've standardized it on our side. So anything that falls in line here, we're going to be able to utilize our scanners without heavy customizations, without any customization, and be able to read these barcodes and utilize, really the tactical advantages that they give you. So here's an example if you're not familiar with the GS1. This is a GS1 for a particular medical device. So you'll notice, and I'm going to take my mouse here, that the G10 number is basically a standardized item or UPC for a particular item. But we also have the production date, serial number, and batch. So this is unique. So if you're a medical company, you can track, and we have ways to track both serial and lot information inside of Sage, and we'll get to that. But what I want everyone to focus on here is that this single barcode actually represents all of this data. And why this is actually important for you is it creates a single point of contact for the user to actually scan product in and get it into your Sage system. So rather than, if you're familiar with any kind of processes, taking down lot, serial, expiration, vendor lot, quantity, all of that information is now stored in that single barcode, and it's traceable back to wherever you need it to be. So as product comes in, I scan that barcode, it takes all that information, it validates it, and gets it into your Sage system all in one streamlined process. This is very different than you're doing it now. You're probably writing it down. Maybe they already have GS1 barcodes, or maybe they already have HIBCC barcodes on them. And this is where using a scanning system is now going to get it into Sage and get that information into Sage. Again, streamlines your process. It makes the user's job, so the warehouse worker's job, very easy. But this information also feeds into your Sage system, and that's very important here. We want to make sure that we're getting away from Excel, we're getting away from paperwork, or any other SQL databases that we're storing information and passing it along. Everything we do should read and write in Sage. So if you're a CFO of a company, if you're a warehouse manager of a company, you're able to easily be able to see what your product looks like and be able to report on it. I think that resonates with a lot of people on this call. So that's GS1, that's unique identifiers. But what about lot and expiration date? How do I track this? And I hear this a lot. How do I track both lot and expiration date? Well, Sage did a great job in 2020 of coming out with the ability to track expiration date. But because it was a newer piece to them, there were some limitations. You couldn't track vendor lot. So what if one of your vendors has a lot number tied to their particular part, and you need to track an internal lot as well? Manufacturers, raise your hand. What if you needed to have the traceability all the way from a production standpoint? So if I am tracking a lot of a particular chemical that is going into some kind of Advil, I need to know what the lot and expiration date for that particular piece and easily report on it, not have to spend 15, 20 minutes, an hour looking for it. So this is where Scanco kind of came into play and allows you to track not only lots, but vendor lots, expiration dates, serial numbers, all of these unique identifiers for your particular product, all from the scanner and all back inside of Sage. So everything we do is going to be cohesive with the scanner as well as back inside of Sage. So what does this really do, and why is this important? Some quick facts. I think this is probably pretty standardized, but really it ensures fast, efficient, and accurate recalls. So if I'm recalling product, I'm able to have some kind of report to quickly be able to see where this product is, when it was shipped out, who the customer was, what work center it was made at. Again, eliminating some of those fines. Overall, this does improve your quality and safety. We'll talk about it a little bit in the next slide, but this is how we can really start to get the first expiration date out, first lot out, the different kind of requirements for that inventory integrity that we're trying to keep. That is where we're going to be able to utilize this particular information. Optimize inventory usage, we talked about that. Improve visibility over suppliers. So being able to just see what's expired, what's not expired, where a particular product is. This is all different capabilities that traditionally we don't have in our system that we can enhance with our vendor lot traceability. And then ensure those compliance. Again, my job here is to eliminate fines, eliminate the question, and eliminate the time. So I want to make sure that all this information is in Sage and that you know how to access it. All right. So optimizing your inventory, and I'm going to just flip to the next one. How does Scanco track and maintain these standards, or how does Scanco optimize your inventory? Well, again, we've highlighted it a lot. Scanco uses our multi-bin expiration date and lot control piece. So this is an add-on that we have to track both Sage lots and vendor lots. My medical companies, my serial numbers on top of that. We have a prosthetic company that we work with that uses our product, and they need to track serial numbers as lots as well as vendor lots, all of this information in one place. It's accessible. But they also need to be able to run reports and cross-reference for recall. So what if I have a vendor lot, a internal lot, and an expiration date of a particular product? I need to quickly be able to see where that is. And I need to utilize Sage as my inventory system. So that's how we do it in the Sage side. What about on the Scanco picking side? So what about utilizing technology to get the correct parts out? Remember, our warehouse is two parts. We have Sage and we have the physical process. How do we physically now get the correct items out? We use technology to do what we call pre-allocate, to pre-allocate those expiration dates or those lot numbers or those vendor lots, or you'll notice I have shelf life. Again, my medical companies, my pharmaceutical probably more or less, to pre-allocate and predetermine the items that my pickers need to grab. These are then assigned out to my pickers, and then my pickers now are directed with technology, and I'll use that word a lot. So scanners, think a barcode scanner, to actually go to the correct location, to go to the correct item, to go to the correct expiration date, lot, whatever information you're trying to gather, and make sure I'm picking the right information or the right item. This is all reading and writing in real time as well as validating. So there's no batching, there's no overlays, there's no workarounds. I scan a product, within milliseconds it comes back and says this is wrong, this is right. So we got the validation portion. But I'm going to circle back. This can all be done with those UDIs. So I wanted to make this my last piece because if we're utilizing those GS1s, if you have some kind of standardized compound barcode that we would work with, so HIBCC, GS1, you don't have to relabel products. We're just going to scan that particular product in our pick, and in seconds, it's going to validate and say this is correct, this is not correct. So we're going to be able to completely optimize and streamline a process, whether we're just doing the back half, so Sage, or the front half of the physical warehouse. So going into it, going to my demo portion, I'm going to flip my screen. Hopefully I flipped it right. There we go. And now I have about 10 minutes to kind of do a quick overview of some of the information. Now, I'm not going to go through it all. Really, from my standpoint, if you want to see more of this, feel free to give me a call. We can set up a discovery, and we really can dive into your processes. So I'm going to start today, and what I'm going to do is just item maintenance. Now, this should be familiar to everyone here. And I'm going to grab one of my part numbers now. I created one ahead of time, and I'm actually just going to use this one, 8971. And if you don't know what multi-bin is a bin system in Sage that Scanco provides that allows you to have multiple locations for a single item. So what this is showing everyone here, from an expiration date standpoint, I'm going to come here and you can see this particular part is expired. You can see that these all have expiration dates on top of them. But we're also going to enhance this lot field and give you the ability to do vendor lots, to do serial numbers, to do any kind of information that's held into here. I'm going to show you this on the handheld, but I just wanted to do a quick overview of where the information is actually going. Now, additionally, from the standpoint of recalls, what if I need to do that cross-reference that we talked about? Well, we have that traceability report. Now, we have a few of them. This is just the one that resonates probably the best. We have a vendor lot traceability report. This is done in Crystal, but you'll notice that I can come here and I can either be very specific with my vendor lots, lot serial. If I wanted to turn on my serial numbers, I could. Or I can simply just do a quick preview and show everything from my standpoint. Now, in a real-world situation, you'd probably want to make sure that you're showing the correct, or kind of doing a cross-reference. But again, high level, this is going to be a traceability report based on your crystal reports and how they're formatted to make sure that you can see the information quickly without wasting a lot of time. All right. So now it's kind of the real show and tell. I'm going to flip over to my scanner. Those were just some different pieces, and again, we're going to get into more of it. And I'm going to go to my receiving, and I'm going to go by order. So I'm using batches here, and I'm going to enter my order, and I set up a purchase order for time today. But what I want everyone to really focus on is the level of information I can capture on the scanner that's not traditionally done. So I'm going to go to my receiving location. Now I'm moving a little quick here, but this is our receiving bin that I'm dumping a purchase order into, and then the item that I'm actually scanning. Now, if I had a GS1 barcode, I'd scan this and I'd move on, and I don't have to worry about anything else. For my demo, it's easier if I just show you the levels of information that I'm actually going to be capturing. So first of all, I'm going to capture a lot, but I'm also going to capture a vendor lot. I'm also going to capture an expiration date, and then the quantity. And again, if I had any of those barcodes, it would automatically populate this all at once. I'm going to print out a label, or I'm not. It's up to you. If we have GS1s, we wouldn't need to. We can reprint if we need to. I'm going to send it, which tells my system to populate the correct data fields. I had a couple purchase orders in there that were short. And what that does is that creates a receipt of good back inside of Sage. And all that information is now stored in those tables that I showed you. So I'm going to go at a high level just quickly here and show you that everything is going to be logged inside of Sage. Here's that item. Here's the 100. It's my ibuprofen, as well as that lot number, that expiration date, and that vendor lot. And remember, this will blow all the way through from my manufacturers here to the work ticket level to actually see what work ticket or what components I'm using. And so we're doing pretty good on time. And I want to go through one more piece, and that is on the outbound side. So we've received all that product in. We've gotten the correct information. Now from the sales order side, as my Sage is working a little slower than I am, I'm going to grab my order. And here's my two items. Now I have ibuprofen, and then I just have a allotted item here. But here's what I want to show you. With multi-bin, we're able to do different parameters and settings to basically allocate ahead of time. So remember, grab those particular items for a particular order with the technology stack that we're utilizing. So if I come here, you can see that my allotted items are expiration date based. Now I can do receipt date. I can do any of these different requirements to keep that integrity. I can specifically say, which locations I want to go for first. So if you're on a cherry picker, you probably only want to go to pick locations. You don't want them, going too high, or you don't want primary locations being depleted. Now, most of my companies that I work with, I wouldn't recommend doing this override, and I wouldn't recommend hitting this allocate button that I'm about to hit. I would just say when an order is created, the system automatically takes it, allocates it, and pushes it out to my guns. But for today's demo purpose, I'm going to hit this allocate button, and it's going to take those particular, oops, my system is going a little slower than I am. There we go. We're going to take those particular items here, and we're going to allocate them. So now you can see that they are allocated. And if I pull up this distribution chart, man, my system, there we go. It's always great whenever you test this ahead of time, and then it slows down after during the live demo. But what I want everyone to notice here is from the distribution side, it's telling my pickers to go grab this particular item. So here's my item code. Now this all appears on the scanner. Here's my lot. This is the location I need to grab it from. But all this information is also stored for traceability standpoint. And this will follow all the way through to my invoicing so that I can quickly and easily see the different levels of data that you need and are required to capture. Now, again, if I was using the guns, this would guide me with the guns to those correct locations in a snake pattern or whatever pattern we wanted to set up for you. All right. So that leaves us with about 7 minutes or maybe 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and just cancel out of this one. And I want to kind of open it up for some questions. And then I want to talk about kind of the implementation and growth. I'm just giving everyone a minute for questions. We have a decent-sized crew on here today, so there's a couple coming in. All right, so the first question is, does this work with production and through production? I think I answered this. Yes, it does. From the production side, if you are a manufacturer manufacturing goods and you need that traceability to blow all the way through, you're going to be able to track it and run reports based off of that. The next question is, and this actually I was asked this twice, how does this work with Sage, the expiration date? And it's a good question. So with the scanners, we're going to work standardized with Sage's expiration date. When you're looking at expiration date lot traceability, it's when you need that added level of traceability for, let's say, vendors, added level of traceability for your expiration date all the way to those bombs, as well as those different kind of reports that we discussed. So, and again, if you want to see some more of those reports, please reach out to me and I'm happy to show them. All right, looks like that is my last question. And I'm going to flip back over to my screen. All right, and so the last piece I want to talk about and go through is, how do we get started in some of the implementation and growth? We at Scanco, have an implementation team, but how you get started is just reach out to me. Reach out to me. We'll go through a series of discovery calls. If I feel like, this is something that you could utilize, if you do, then we will quote it out and actually demo it based on whatever your process is. At that point, when it's actually in your system, you're going to have a dedicated team to basically help and manage your implementation and make sure that that go live isn't a typical software implementation where we're just kind of dead in the water and nobody's doing anything. So you're going to have things like different type of process reviews as well as roadmaps to make sure that we're hitting key points to get you utilizing a system like this. And then lastly, we do have a piece for more of that hands-on learning, or actually hands-off learning, where you have a learning management system that is going to kind of walk you through it. So you will have a team dedicated to this, and you will have a team that's making sure that this project is going to be successful on your side. So I probably should have got to that before the questions, but I wanted to make sure to hammer out those questions after the demo. So with that said, everyone, I have about 5 minutes left. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes to see if any questions pop up. And if not, I just want to say I appreciate everyone attending. There's a couple people here at Scanco that you're able to reach out to. My name is Seth Fike. You can see that Ross Allen is another individual that you will be able to reach out to. Seth at Scanco is my email. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. All right, I don't see any questions. Again, I appreciate everyone's time. I'm going to go ahead and end this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.